I have to search on it.
Okay, so it's 8:30. So I'd like to do the intro.
Okay, thank you, Ante. CO2 and good evening, brothers and sisters. Sit down. Welcome once again to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 14th of December, 2021. We are very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popularly known as Phra Goh. Bhante was born on July 14, 1985 and was ordained in 2008. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network and has been conducting MSBS Weekly Guide meditation since last year. This week, we are continuing on the Ratana Sutta. Bhante will be leading a homage to the Buddha and taking a 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now, let us compose our minds, our palms together, and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence, for the intro. Okay, so we start off with the homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. And the 5 precepts. Panatipata viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majapamadatthana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and tonight we are still continuing this topic, Ratana Sutta, suggested by Sister Rachel. So we are continuing the topic. All right, where have we stopped, Terence? Yes, we talked about this until here, this Sangha. So I think there's a typo error. So if you see the word Sangha as in S-A and the word letter looks like I, actually it's the letter N. Yeah, so it's Sangha, Sangha jewel. Okay, so we talk about attaining this highest state, this deathlessness, Nibbana. So that is the mark of an arahant. So earlier on, somebody was mentioning, right, a very common misconception. People believe that arahants have psychic ability, right? So one of in this another venerable that I think Terence would also know, Venerable Kowido, eh? Yeah, this monastery, Susima. Is it Susima Hermitage or Susima Monastery?
It's called Subsima Project.
Susima Project. Okay. Yeah, so there's this sutta, yeah, Susima Sutta, that talked about these arahants that got enlightened, but they do not have psychic ability. Yeah, so this monk called Susima is basically like a spy, you know, spy from another group that ordained, became a Buddhist to ordain and want to find out what's the secret. How come this religion is prospering? Must be something enticing, you know, for people to join. So he, when he ordained, he got to know a group of monks that declared they are enlightened. Yeah, they reach this deathlessness. Normally, people in the suttas, if they reach enlightened, they claim that they overcome this death, overcome birth and death. There will be no more becoming. Okay, so this Susima went and asked these monks, right, do you have these psychic abilities like divine eye? And they said no. Can you see past lives? They said no, can't see past lives. How about other people's past lives? Also no, don't have. Their divine ear also don't have. How about mind reading ability? Also don't have. How about telekinesis, flying, walking through walls, and those kind of stuff? And those monks also said no. And he was wondering, you know, what kind of enlightenment is this? Yeah, what kind of enlightenment is this? So after some time, he managed to come across the Buddha and reported this incident. Oh, hey, this your so-called group of monks that claim they're enlightened don't have all this ability, right? So what's so great about this enlightenment, or what's so great about your teaching? And so the Buddha explained to him what is the 5 aggregates, teach him how to contemplate 5 aggregates, and contemplate on dependent origination. Dependent origination, right? Very interesting. Dependent origination. So afterwards, these monks sort of happened to gain the Dhamma eye or even reach enlightenment, right? Became enlightened. And the Buddha turned to ask this monk, Susima, do you have the ability to see past lives? And this monk said, hey, don't have, cannot see past life. He got enlightened but cannot see past life. How about the ability to have divine eye? See the angels, see the ghosts? They don't have, cannot. Divine ear also cannot. Hear long range or hear divine beings? No, cannot. How about mind reading ability? Also don't have. How about telekinesis, flying and all those stuff? Also don't have. So this Susima finally understood and asked for forgiveness, and asked forgiveness from the Buddha. Right. So this entering this deathlessness, right, is a totally different thing. You know, it's not the fanciful abilities. We call these the 6 abhinyas, 6 higher knowledges in Buddhism. Right, so 5 are considered worldly. That means it can be developed by even non-spiritual people, demons, spirits. They are born with those abilities. So things like divine eye, divine ear, ability to fly, all those kind of stuff. So 5 of them. Let me recall in order. Okay, first one is recalling past lives. Then next one, divine eye. Number 3, divine ear. Number 3, this mind reading ability. And Number 4, mind reading. And number 5, this telekinesis, able to fly, walk on water, walk through walls, all those stuff. So these are the 5 worldly higher knowledges. Can be developed by anybody. So even people who want to learn it out of revenge, they also can learn it. Probably the closest modern example would be like the Cold War. There are documentary films of certain spy agencies from both countries, US or Russia. They're recruiting psychic inclined people to do this remote viewing, look at enemy targets, enemy base without stepping into their territory, and then they know where to bomb the place and whatever not. So those are abilities used for not so noble causes, right? So they aren't rooted in spiritual kind of development. Of course, there are people who use it for good causes. So the scriptures example will also talk about even this Venerable Devadatta. Venerable Devadatta, the Buddha's cousin that wanted to kill him, to take over his position. So so a person with evil intentions also can have all these abilities. So Venerable Devadatta is said to transform to different form, different shapes, different animals, different whatever it is. So he has these abilities also. And it doesn't represent deathlessness or nibbana, doesn't talk about reducing or overcoming desire. Right? So a person full of desire can use these things to, who knows, maybe rob a bank or whatever. So not noble kind of ability. Okay, and the 6th higher knowledge, right? This 6th abhinya would be the ability to, the knowledge to overcome craving, overcome defilements, right? So that is the highest knowledge. So that is supramundane kind of higher knowledge, higher abhinya. Okay, so the total of 6, and the Buddha, right, would be the one that cultivate all 6. He has perfected all these qualities so that he can help as many beings as possible. Sometimes you need to convince probably ascetics who probably need to look at these abilities as a benchmark. So you need to develop them in order to convince or persuade them. Right? So for those who are more skeptical, they're more academically inclined, they're not into all these abilities, then the Buddha also mentioned it's not suitable to display any abilities to those group of people. They will cast doubt. Are you using black magic? What kind of spells are you using? So it kind of degrade these meditative kind of efforts, meditative endeavor, right? So the Buddha would talk about, or he would praise the miracle of instruction. Miracle of instruction. That means the ability to guide a person, to transform them from an unwholesome person to a wholesome person. So that is the highest miracle, and not the fanciful external kind of displays, more on the transformation of the mind, transformation of the heart. So that is the best miracle. Okay, so we talk about this, right? Plunge into deafness, enjoy the peace of emancipation. So this is the highest goal a Buddhist should aim to reach this peace, right? And not aiming for psychic abilities, right? That's why right intention very important, right view. If a person, some people come for meditation class and they have a wrong motivation. You want to learn how to fly, come and meditate and learn how to do whatever some of the superhero uh, comic book superheroes can do, and they want to emulate. So that is not uh, the correct intention, and probably not the right place to learn also, right? Not the correct avenue to learn all these abilities. Okay, next. Okay, so this is also related. Verse number 8. Just as a city post fixed firmly in the ground is unshakable by the four winds. Okay, so these four winds we are talking about is the vicissitudes of life. We call them the four pairs of winds, not just four winds. So the first pair of wind is gain and loss. Second pair of wind is praise and blame. Third pair of wind, fame and defame. And fourth pair of wind is this pleasure and pain. So in life, we will be touched by these vicissitudes of life, ups and downs of life. And if our mind is not trained, we will be easily pulled away by the eight winds, get blown away around, blown here and there, very aimless, no control in life. All these things, they blow us around and we get affected. We have this mood swing. Sometimes we have pleasure, we gain something, we feel happy, somebody praise us, then we get happy. And when people blame us, have unpleasant feelings, feelings of pain, or we lose something, then we feel upset. So our mood, our emotion always up and down, up and down. So it's at the mercy of these external winds. Yeah, at the mercy of the external winds. So even though Buddhism talk about letting go, but there's a total different meaning. If a person is untrained and they're totally blown away by these things, they are, we said, we get easily affected, we get angry, we get feel upset, we get depressed. So that is the result, if the mind is easily shaken. Then the next kind of development is a person who has concentration. They have samatha only, but no vipassana. So they anchor very firmly, build a very strong foundation, and then still get blown by the winds. But the foundation very strong, so not so much shaken. So this is like developing concentrations, like equanimity. So there's the equanimity of samatha. The mind, very peaceful. But once that samatha battery, gets depleted, once that consciousness go back to the desire realm, sense sphere consciousness, then the mind get affected again. They will get easily up and down, right? Get pulled up and down by these four winds. And the highest kind of equanimity would be this wisdom or insight. So if a person just have insight alone, they may not have an anchor. They are basically transcended. The mind has transcended these vicissitudes. That means they're still touched by the four winds, but mentally not affected. So I'm going to give a case study, things like pleasure and pain. I'll use the Buddha as a case study because he's the anchor person. And so, the Buddha also go through aging. He has a backache. He can't sit for very long. So that is a vicissitude of pain. So, some people have misunderstanding. A person has enlightened, who have no pain. Not true. So it has got the interpretation. So what they mean is no mental pain. There is mental detachment. Physically, yes, there's still feelings of pleasure, pain, still a backache, has stomach problem, food poisoning, and so on. Yeah, and he also has praise and blame. There are people that come and criticize his teaching. There are people that praise his teaching. So these are unescapable as long as we are in samsara. These things will exist. Yeah, these vicissitudes of life surely exist. So the way, the wisdom ways to transcend, overcome these 8 winds by practicing this non-detachment. Yeah, non-detachment. Okay, so there's the wisdom kind of equanimity. So if a person wants to have double anchorage, yeah, so they can practice both samatha and vipassana. So we have 2 kinds of equanimity. So there are people who are, let's say, they just practice insight only, yeah, no jhanas, no samatha, right? They operate at the very desire realm kind of setting, but the consciousness is what do you call it, at the supramundane level. Yeah, they experience certain equanimity from insight, but they still operate, what do you call it, not as calm or composed than people with samatha base, right? So for people with samatha base, they're very calm and composed because their sort of fabrications are sort of suppressed, yeah, more unified in a way. Right? So they unify the formations, the craving is gathered together at a point. So these are, we said, more calmer response, more calmer kind of demeanor, calmer kind of behavior. So this is for those practicing samatha or concentration. So a person practices both samatha and vipassana, then they develop also calm demeanor and also mentally detached. So win-win situation. Okay, so I'm continuing reading. So too I declare is the virtuous person who sees the noble truths unwaveringly. Verily, in the Sangha is this superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. Right, so this a person, right, needs to see the 4 noble truths to gain this equanimity. So a person don't have to be like an arahant. Yeah? So a person, as long as they are a stream enterer, they will have this very subtle kind of equanimity from inside. So one good example is this Mahanama again. This devotee, lay devotee of the Buddha called Mahanama. Even though he is a Sotapanna, stream enterer, but the mind still has this thing called restlessness, fear, and worry. Right, when he's walking in the streets in a busy city, sometimes there's this fast horse or cart that run past him, and he has a fear of death. Fear of death, and he approached the Buddha twice to ask about the incident. If I die, where will I be reborn? And he's worried. Right? So an stream enterer still can have this worry and fear. So the Buddha assured him, yeah, you are this stream enterer, you're inclined to this unbinding, you're no longer going to be reborn in the lower realms. So this is we call a person without samatha, without strong samatha base. then they won't have this calm kind of demeanor, easily reactive. And vice versa, a person can be very calm. No, they do this samatha, and once their samatha wear out, then moved, easily moved by the senses. Okay, then we move on. Number 9. Those who clearly comprehend the noble truths are well taught by him of profound wisdom, even if they are very negligent. They do not take up an 8th rebirth. Verily, in the Sangha is a superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. Right, so it's believed that the lowest of the saint, called the stream enterer, they won't have 8th rebirth. So maximum they are reborn 7 more times in the 3 higher realms. Yeah? So no ghost, no hell realm, no animal realm. So human or higher, maximum 7 lifetimes. If they were hardworking, can be 4 lifetimes, 3 lifetimes, 2 lifetimes, depending. So why this mention, right? If they are very negligent, that means if a person is a stream enterer, they still can indulge in the senses. They are preoccupied with pleasure of the senses, and they can sort of lack this mindfulness. And people are wondering, hey, how come they can be negligent? But eventually, all good things will come to an end. Everything is impermanent. So even if they do not meet any form of crisis when they're still alive, they will definitely meet death. So at the point or closer to the point of death, then they will start to contemplate this on detachment, on letting go. Because a stream enterer will already experience this emotion of detachment, this insight kind of equanimity, insight kind of peace, inner peace. So when all things fail, all sensual pleasures fail, then this option will be open to them. Yeah, so this is for a negligent person, if they're still very heedless for 7 lifetimes, then after these encounters of crisis, they'll hopefully, eventually wake up their idea and walk to the path of spirituality. So that would be the very negligent, very heedless, right? They just enjoy, and let's say they are very smooth sailing from birth to death. So at the point of death, then they start to contemplate detachment, letting go, and so that's for a negligent person. But if, let's say, they meet something in life, probably most people do, including myself, we meet some crises, then you start to reflect on all these things don't guarantee me this happiness. These sensual objects do not guarantee everlasting happiness. And they have certain kind of disappointments, and we'll start to chunk them aside and invest more time in spiritual practice. All right, so this is the truth, virtue of the Sangha jewel. All right, so I shall end here for the sharing and open the ground for Q&A. Any questions or comments on the ground or on the Facebook? All okay, no questions. So most of the points are actually revision. In the past series, we've talked before most of the points. Probably just a refresher. All okay, no issues. Probably you might need a break to think of the questions or even come up with suggestions, because we're probably coming to an end to the Ratana Sutta, and you can come up with a topic for the next series. All right, so I give you all like a 5-minute break. Now it's 9 o'clock, so see you all back at 9:05 for a guided meditation. All right, we're back. Okay, let's see who else has returned. Hi, Jan, how are you?
Hi, Bante. I'm okay.
Okay, anyone has any questions or suggestions for the next topic? Or waiting for year end or New Year, New Year break?
Bante, I'm not sure have done the 9 qualities of Buddha.
Have we gone through that? I think briefly.
Oh,
Briefly,
okay.
yeah.
It's okay. Because I joined late.
Okay. I think this Meta Lodge is having the course on this, so you can promote that.
So it will be another sutta, maybe.
Yeah, another sort of topic. If not, I'll just pick on my own. But the best is let you all decide, because whatever topic that interests you all. If not, I'll choose a boring topic and may not interest you all.
If no one suggests, can I have Jaya Mangala Gata?
That's Gatha, yeah, not the Sutta.
Or Mangala Sutta
Yeah,
also?
probably we'll look at Suttas more. Yeah, so Mangala Sutta, okay. Yeah,
Sadhu. Bante.
no problem. Okay, everyone's back, so we can turn off the microphones and mute your mics and start the meditation. We find this comfortable position. I think if you need to mute your microphone. Okay, and make sure your back is upright. The rest of your body relaxed. Okay, and then we are going to cultivate this meditative practice, impurities of the body, and we're going to visualize all the hairs and wish them well and happy. When you think all the hairs from head to toe, every time you move to a new patch of hair, you conjure a new image, and you need to keep repeating, wish the hairs well and happy, new patch of hair well and happy. So the mind is always affected by these four winds or four pairs of winds. And when we see this hairs, when you have displeasure to the hair, you find hairs very ugly, you don't like the fashion of the hair, and you may develop aversion. So this loving kindness is like bringing the mind closer to the eye of the storm, so that there's some calmness, some peace. Make peace with any contact and have some acceptance. So various ways of coming in contact with various sense stimuli, through 6 senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. So for visualization is mind talk. Huh? Okay, and once we are relatively at peace with your hairs, then we're going to introduce the thought of non-greed. And so we're going to think of impermanence. So all these hairs go through this birth, aging, sickness, death. So they grow and they fall off, grow and they fall off. And we think of this birth and death cycle many, many times. So it's actually gain and loss, hair growing, hair falling. So we are trying to be one with the winds, be one with impermanence. So keep on visualizing this growing and falling of the hairs. Once you're not in line with impermanence, then you have resistance with the tornadoes, with the hurricane. You want to worry or fantasize something that is holding on to a view of permanence, a view of illusion. You want certain happiness forever, or you want certain experience forever. There's a clinging, and you're not going with the flow of impermanence. So the difference between being blown around by the 8 winds and going with the flow is that if you do it correctly, you'll feel either inner joy or inner peace. or mindful of impermanence. So whatever you encounter, not just the visual object, any emotion, any experience, all of them are also impermanent. No need to get stuck or hold on to any experience. Always mindful of impermanence. And we can reflect and question ourselves. Are these hairs or the mental factors associated with the hairs, are they truly self? Can you tell them not to go through birth and death? And next we can visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails, and wish them well and happy. Okay, and all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they keep growing and falling many, many cycles. So this training, we are not training the nails, we're training to detach from 5 aggregates, our cognitive processes, which we hold so dearly and sort of use it to experience every facets of our lives. And think of the nails, not just their form, certain shape and size. There's also feeling, whether you like the nails or dislike the nails, or you find it neutral. There's also perception. Call it a long nail, a short nail, a fallen nail. So that is perception, all the labels based on past memory. And mental formation, yeah? Every time you conjure a new image, that is mental formation. And consciousness, you're using your mind or consciousness, you're aware of what you're visualizing. So if you're hearing what I'm talking, you're using ear consciousness. And we can observe, are they the same or are they different? Every time we think of the nails growing and falling, and we can reflect, are these nails or the mental factors associated with the nails, are they truly self? And we tell them not to go through birth and death. Okay, and next we can visualize the teeth. We wish all the teeth inside the oral cavity well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So the teeth, they fall off the most twice. So we think of the bone cells of the teeth growing and falling many, many times, many cycles of wear and tear, regeneration. can ask ourselves, are these teeth or the mental factors associated with the teeth, are they truly self? Can we tell them not to go through birth and death? Okay, and next we move on to the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. And every time we think of a new patch of skin, we wish it well and happy. New patch of skin well and happy. And all the skin go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of the skin growing and falling, many, many cycles. And we can reflect by asking ourselves, are the skin or the mental factors associated with the skin, are they truly self? Can we tell them not to go through birth and death? Okay, and next we can move to the 4 sublime states, second phase of meditation. So this time around there is no need to visualize. We use the sense of feel. So you can call it the body sense door, feel sensations. So we're going to wish all beings in front well and happy. So whatever sensation you feel in front, even outside the perimeter of the body, doesn't matter, it's perception. Also, not just wish it well and happy. So this time round, it's a real-time observation. No need to superimpose any image or any sensation. Yeah? And then the sensation appear naturally by itself, and you just wish them well and happy. So all beings who are included within that field of attention is inside. It's naturally included, so there's no need to sort of visualize that. Okay, and we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So the challenge is how to radiate this loving kindness in the directions without creating stress or tension. How to direct the mind without any attachment. Okay, so we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So this time round, we are going to wish the entire body well and happy, just feeling the sensations. So whatever sensation arises, you just wish it well and happy. So these sensations can be classified as the four elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. Earth represents hard and soft sensations, fire, warm and cold, wind, fast and slow movements, and water, moist or dry. So whatever sensation you feel, just wish them well and happy. Let it arise naturally by itself, no need to control them, no need to deliberately generate those sensations, no need to cling on to them, and no rejecting or pushing them away. So the whole idea is to understand how it arises naturally and wish them well and happy, be at peace in this natural phenomenon. just observing alone will not generate any kind of positive karma. Yeah? So we need to have the right thought, thoughts of non-aversion, which is well and happy all the time. New sensation, when we detect, well and happy, new sensation, well and happy. We keep the Eightfold Path, the Dharma wheel rolling, all connected and rolling all the time. So the repetition is right effort, wholesome or skillful thoughts. Keep producing, developing them all the time. Okay, once you think you're at relative peace with the body, then we call this a restricted form of loving kindness, and still within the confines of the body. And next we are going to train or cultivate a boundless kind of loving kindness. So we are going to wish all beings in all directions, may they be well and happy, above, below, and all across. Yeah, no need to visualize that sense of feel, and however far the mind wishes to extend by itself, no need to push it, and extend naturally. However far you wish to encompass, that will be your universe. And within that field of attention, same thing, you just observe all sensations. Whatever sensation arises, wish it well and happy. New sensation arises, well and happy. So all beings are embraced inside this attention, will also be included. So we don't visualize is because we do not know how all sentient beings look like. Yeah? So we have certain biasness or discrimination on certain race or certain realm of beings, and probably some beings are unseen beings, so we have no idea how they look like. So the more thoughts of loving kindness you generate for every sensation, the calmer the mind you should get. You should be able to feel the mind settling down. So that's a sign that you're on the right track. Call this the paradox of skillful thinking. In meditation, you cannot leave the mind idle. You cannot say, no thinking. Once you do nothing, then basically that's daydreaming. Mind naturally cling onto any random stray thought or nice feeling, and the four winds will carry them far, far away to a dreamland or whatever it is. Okay, so you find the mind quite settled, and this is using loving kindness to cultivate concentration or samatha. You familiarize yourself with this emotion from concentration. So in order to have a more non-stick mind, not to get attached, always keep generating this loving kindness for every sensation. Okay, so once you have a taste of this calmness or peace, then we add some insights, add some wisdom into the practice, and we are going to reflect how to develop a more unconditional kind of loving kindness. We practice some detachment, so we're going to observe impermanence. So all sensations arise and pass away. They appear and disappear all the time, so we just observe this phenomenon for every sensation. And we also keep reflecting in our mind that it is impermanent. Whatever mantra you want to use, impermanence, change, rising, falling, and whatever label that you're comfortable, keep repeating. So that is to convert that observation into wisdom. So the loving kindness coupled with combination of concentration and wisdom and insight will give a different kind of peace. We treat all nice experiences, no matter how calm, how peaceful, how pleasant, as a byproduct. Emphasis on impermanence. So impermanence is to prevent you getting blown away by the four winds. And this is using loving kindness to develop both concentration and insight. Just a brief taste only, and we are moving to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So for compassion, we are going to wish all beings, may they be free from suffering. So same thing, no need to visualize or over-imagine any scenario. We are just observing the moment-to-moment, here and now sensations. Whatever sensation arises, you just wish it free from suffering. Maybe free from decay, free from pain. And you keep doing that for every sensation. So the nature of samatha meditation is a bit like going against the wind. So you're resisting the wind, and you keep anchoring the mind. But in life, naturally, everybody will go through this birth and death, and will face pain or suffering. So the wisdom way is to go with the wind, how to practice this detachment, how to overcome this suffering. So we keep observing the birth and death of every sensation, or it arises and passes away all the time. Okay, and this is using compassion to cultivate concentration and insight. Keep mindful of impermanence. Keep the wheel spinning, traveling on a journey. No need to pause or stay idle. Once you stop the wheel rolling, you lose the momentum and the wheel will collapse. And just like a bicycle, you stop pedaling and the bicycle will fall. Okay, and we are moving to the third sublime state, which is appreciative joy. So we are rejoicing in all the accomplishments of all sentient beings. May they not be departed from what they have achieved. So basically, whatever sensation we experience, all beings, when they experience a new sensation, then they're gaining a new experience. So every moment, every sensation, we can rejoice. this is using appreciative joy to develop calm or concentration. And next we can add some insight or reflection, and we can think that all beings will eventually lose what is dear and appealing to them. So we don't have to think too far down the road, how many years later we lose this person or lose that item. So we just observe the here and now sensations. Every experience, they appear, they pass away. All sensations arise and pass away all the time. So without an open mind, without the right frame of mind, and separation from loved one, this is suffering. Now we contemplate this, it become insight, become peace, or some people find inner happiness and joy. So the whole idea is to keep the rate of impermanence high, so there's more detachment. Once you stagnate for even a few seconds, then it's clinging. And depending on the speed of these winds, on a rate of desire, and you get easily blown around. And before we conclude the session, same gentle reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta that as long as we maintain this boundless sublime state, be it standing, sitting, walking or lying down, this is the highest conduct, and with that in mind we can gently open our eyes. Even though we officially end meditation, but every moment still can generate right thought. Okay, so anyone here has any problems or questions? All okay, no issues. Yeah, Terence.
From this question from Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. Can one in deep meditation experience the disappearance of the physical body? What should one do then? Thank you, Phra Goh.
Yeah, if whatever phenomenon you experience, continue with that instruction. So if let's say you're at a point of observing impermanence, then carry on, just mindful of impermanence. And so even the body disappear, there's still formations. So depending on what kind of concentration or what phenomenon, we have gone through this in a previous series in the for the Mettang Sutta. There's M behind the M, behind the Metta. So there's a METTAM. So if let's say a person is practicing this compassion with insight, so the mind is expanded, which all directions with compassion, and they practice in line with the 7 factors of enlightenment, they may experience this perception of infinite space. So they might feel space very expanded, or like your body like diminishing with proportion to the space. So that might be one experience. Or if they practice this sublime state of appreciative joy, then they might enter this perception of infinite consciousness. If they practice in accordance to the 7 factors of enlightenment, observe impermanence, then they will feel as though the mind expanded, or the sense of self, as though fill up the entire space. So whatever you experience, whole idea is always mindful of impermanence. Okay, hopefully that answers the question. Anything else, anyone? Okay, if not, then we close the session with the dedication. Dedicating merits. Akasata Japumata Deva Naga Mahidika Punyanta Anumoditva Chirang Rakatu Loka Sasana Etavata Jamihi Sampada Punya Sampada Sabe Deva Sabe Puta Sabe Sada Anumodatu Sabha Sabhati Siddhiya. Transference of merits to departed. Idam Nyatina Hotu Sugita Hotu Nyatayo. Idam Nyatina Hotu Sugita Hotu Nyatayo. Idam Nyatina Hotu Sugita Hotu Nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina Punya Kamena Ame Bala Samagamo Satang Samagamo Hotu Yavani Bala Patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so that ends the session. Any announcements from Terence? So I think next week is the last session for the year, right? And that means there's no session on the which day again? Check my calendar. Yeah, no session on the
21st is the last
yeah.
class for the year.
Yeah, okay. So
In
I'll
next
see
week,
you.
we still have, will be the last one.
Yeah, correct. So I'll see you all next week, and good night.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bante.
Bante.
Good night. Sadhu,
Night,
sadhu.
everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Parents,
All the
thank you.